Hello, everyone. It's Kim from K&RP here in southeastern Manitoba. It is a cloudy, rainy off and on day here today. It's currently 15 degrees Celsius, which means it is 58 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not very nice out there, but I'm down here, so it should be okay. Although down here is very cold. I don't know if you can hear the hum in the background. I actually have a little heater on because it is so chilly down here. So obviously I have not cleaned up since we played with inks on the weekend. I haven't really been down here. I did do a little bit more doodling and stuff after the stream was done, but basically I haven't done much of anything. I did crochet yesterday because I spent the afternoon in the greenhouse. It was nice. So today we are going to do some mark making. Now, the thing with mark making is, hey, Jan, nice to see you, hon. Yeah, morning for you, afternoon for me. Everything good with you? Hope so. So I'm going to do some mark making. So I've got a few different things. I've got some, this is just like saran wrap kind of cellophane kind of stuff. Hey, there, Belinda, nice to see you. I've got some cotton balls stuffed in it, so I'm going to use that kind of like a little stamp. We used to use crumpled up stuff to do wall textures when we were painting way back, in the 80s. I have this piece of interesting fabric-y kind of stuff. I should probably have got it wet so I could manipulate it a bit better. I have a balloon with some water in it because we're going to do some balloon stamping. I have a piece of Mardi Gras beads, large beads. We're going to play with those. I have some silk flowers. Well, they're not silk. They're some sort of plasticky whatever, I don't know. So what I do is when I get fake flowers like this, quite often I take them apart. I take all the plastic off, right? Plastic goes in the garbage. Then I have something like this, and I will either cut it so that I can use it in a little floral arrangement, but today we're going to use it for paint. We're going to play with paint. You a bit tired today? Oh my. Your head is groggy? Not fun. Not fun. I also have one of these weights. This is from, when you get those Mylar balloons for birthdays and that kind of thing, and you get weights on them. This was a weight from a balloon. So we'll do a rubbing with that. Now, the big thing when you're doing mark making is if you are working in a journal and you are doing mark making, you need to be aware. I have to go to the page. I marked it. You need to be aware that when you do something like these dots, they could bleed through because the paper is so thin. Like these dots bled through to the other side. Because this is just a junk journal, I wasn't overly concerned. But if you are working on a journal and you're adding some of these little embellishment things, you need to be aware that it could bleed through. So you have to kind of pick and choose what you're using for making your marks. The weight of the paper, if it's going to leach, whatever you're doing is going to leach. So most of the time what I do is I make my marks on other pieces of paper. Like when I was doing the doodles with the inks on Sunday, I've already chopped out some of these pieces and used them in this journal because this is the journal I'm going to do for the end of July. So whatever we're working on now, I'm going to do a little bit in this journal. And then at the end of July, I will do a giveaway for it. So as I say, some of those little pieces are in here. So I am going to do a little bit of work in here with the mark making. I'm also going to do some mark making in this journal because it's okay to work right on these pages because A, they're folded over. There's usually lots of stuff on the other side, and it's a much thicker paper. So I will get, it won't bleed through. I will put plastic between the pages just so I don't slop over. Okay, so I've got a couple of things to do some mark making in. I also grabbed a bunch of scrappy bits that need something a little more to them. Washing out colors. Oh, I have to change that light. I have to move it. I think my desk got moved is what's happened. And it is far too close to my camera. In fact, I'm pretty darn sure that's what's happened. Okay, so we're going to do this. I'm going to have a little bit of shadowing now. So I've got, pages like this. Needs a little bit of something on. This one too. Normally, I would just cut flowers or something out of it. But since we're doing mark making, I'm just going to play, I've got everything from tissue paper to magazine page, cardstock, and I have a bunch of coffee filters. Is it better, Jan? It does. It does. I'm going to have to, maybe when I was cleaning, I bumped the table and no, that can't be it. But it does. It seems really, I've had that issue on the last couple of streams where it's been washed out. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go and get a little cup of water so I can soak this in some water. As I say, I've got a few different things I want to show you, different techniques with. Now, it's probably way too wet, but it's okay. I can squeeze it out into this little cup here. All right. So, see, now I've got this wet and it's going to be sticky. Oi. Becca has that piece of glass over her desk. I'm almost thinking that I should go and rescue a piece of glass from the pile I have up wrong. It's got outside that a friend was supposed to pick up and hasn't yet. Maybe I have to snag a pane of glass and put it down. So it's easier to clean because this is like the third mat I've been through with mucking things up. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start with this. I'm going to use paints today because I have so much paint and I'm just going to use acrylic paint. This is that Ziploc bag with the packing foam in it. My faux gel plate. Let's move the mouse. Do you know what? Now I've moved the mouse. I don't know if I'll find the cursor again. Okay, so let's start with the balloon. Let's put some colors down and I'll show you what you can do with the balloon. Balloon needs to be a bit blown up. I have a little bit of water in it to help weight it. So I'm just putting little bits of paint on this. Hey, Joni, welcome. We're doing mark making today. So I'm going to be making a mess as usual. Not that my desk is ever clean, but a little bit red. Put a little bit over there too. All right. So this is more of a paint pouring technique. I used to do a fair bit of paint pouring. You puddle all your paints together and then you move it around and it kind of flows. And then you get the lovely cells or whatever out of it. All right, so those are blues and reds and pinks. I've got this wild and crazy greenish paper. And yeah, normally I would be using this for my leaves and things, but I'm just going to show you. Hey, Teresa, nice to see you. Nice to see you. So I'm going to take this balloon. It's got a little bit of water in it, just so that, whatever. And you go for the bottom point. There's always like a bottom part of a balloon. So you're just going to stick it in the paint. And then you're going to go to your page and push it down. And you get these lovely flowery kind of things. So I really like this for adding bits of whimsy to a page, because you can see how it's still on the balloon. Let's just dip it again lightly. You can always blot it off a little bit on the side of where you've poured it. And you just kind of press it down and pull it up. And you get such lovely, lovely patterns from it. See, I should have put a piece of paper under that, but that's okay. So it's kind of interesting. It makes really, really nice flowers. It really does. Like, let's take one of these. They're over here. Hang on. I just have to bend behind me here. So this is one of those phone book things that I'm doing. Let's almost do like a flower garden on this. We're just going to do the whole page. Hey, Sherry, nice to see you. Just doing balloon blob flowers. Because I put an awful lot of paint down. Oh. But it does give a really interesting effect. Yeah, you could do it as petals for sure. Or you could just consider that a whole flower. But they're fun and something a little bit different. Whoa. Oh, that roll down here. I wish you could see how nice that looks. Yeah, we'll just throw things all over the place. Throw things all over the place. But, this is a nice way to add interest to a page. I don't know how well you can see that. Yeah. Now you need balloons? Yeah, well. Yeah, balloons are nice. But they do, like if you do them in like floral colors, pinks and whatever, you can get some really, really lovely flower effects out of it. Okay, so that's with the balloon. I think we used those when I did those little ones. Was it a balloon that I used? I can't remember. No, I was using the same technique. Okay, so this, but I had something like a flat lid I was using, like a glue lid. Or maybe this dowel. Okay, so you've got a piece of dowel, even just something round and flat, right? And you can put it in the paint. Let's take a piece of white. Yeah, that's how we did those little round flowers that I made some Kimbits out of. You just take something round, dip it in a bunch of paint. If you've got paint left over from a project you're doing, anything round works. It doesn't have quite the same effect as the balloon, but this works as well. And of course, now my paint's getting a little muddy because I've kind of stirred it a bit. But what I would do is I would turn these into flowers, cut them out, and put them on somebody's journal page, like in a corner, a fall of flowers kind of thing. This is actually not a water balloon. It's a big balloon. I just happen to have water in it. Okay, so that's one way to make some marks. Two ways, right? You could use any flat lid and you get the same kind of idea. But as I say, I can go in here now and doodle these into flowers, cut them out, and just have a bunch to add to a card, to an ATC, as a border down a page. You know, you could do borders. You could put them on a page and draw vining between them. Just something a little bit different and fun. Just paint blobs, guys. Just paint blobs. Just do it. Do it. Do it. I want to finish off the page. So now I've got lots to doodle on. Yeah, that could make a cool corner tuck too. Definitely. 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 All right. So that's doing the balloon and page technique or dot technique. I don't know if that's a real name. Dot technique. To me, dot technique would be if you're doing like a mandala or whatever. This is definitely a little bit different. You can also do this in, say, blues and greens, which is really nice. And then it kind of looks like planets. If you're doing a space theme, limited by your imagination and the paints that you have available. I just grabbed these. So then, of course, we have the crumpled up cellophane with, like I say, I've just got cotton balls in it because I wanted something a little bit more stable. Let's grab another one of those book page things. It's a nice way to get these decorated, that's for sure. So then we're going to dip this in the paint. And when we put it down, you get a lacier kind of pattern. We used to do this on walls. Remember, we would rag paint on walls in the 80s, 70s, 90s, whatever. But it gives a really cool effect as well. It's almost marbly, come feathery. If I was just using a single color, it would be different. I will show this to you right away. I'm just trying to use up this paint that I've got down here. There we go. So again, crumple up some wax paper. You're working on your anything journal. It's been an adventure. Awesome. 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 Yep, those Mylar balloons too would give an interesting kind of texture. But you can see how some places are flat and I gave it more pressure, so I've got the bigger blobs. But we get all these wonderful little wispy kind of line things. And it just makes a lovely background. Something a little bit different. Right? All right. The really nice thing about doing your own mark making is no two are going to be the same. You might use the same colors, same technique, but they're not going to work out exactly the same. All right. So what else have I got? I've got this one. This one, of course, I think I would like to try it through my Cuttlebug, see if I could use it as an embossing. Yeah, bubble wrap works lovely. think this up because of bubble wrap? No, I did this before I even used bubble wrap. I've been doing this since, I was teaching folk art in the 90s, and we used this for a background for a lot of things. So I've got this weight, again, from a Mylar balloon. We'll put that down. We're going to take a piece of paper. Just a piece of paper. So this is something, obviously, I've been playing with. I don't even know when. So we're going to put that down. We're going to see if I can. And this is a thicker paper. This is not a copy paper. Maybe it's like a scrapbook paper kind of weight. See if I can get a rubbing from this. I certainly can. It's always nice to find something that you can make a rubbing out of. Of course, I'm using a crayon. You can use a pencil. You could use charcoal. You could use pastel. Whatever you've got on hand. I happen to have lots of crayons. Right? So again, another. Spray the water on the paper first. That could work too. For putting this through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could rub coins, buttons. If you have a really interesting flat button, you know how you get those metal buttons? Those would be great to rub. Teacher wasn't happy with it. You were just putting your 2 cents worth in, Teresa. Probably wouldn't have liked you saying that either. So anything can create a rubbing. I've got this with the holes in it, right? This is one of my stencil things that I do. Just looking for a lighter piece of paper. I just want to see if we can get a rubbing from the holes. It doesn't matter. Look at that. Right? We've got the holes. You didn't like the quarter's worth either? Oh, yeah, for the dye machine? Yeah, that would probably work good. So I rubbed over these punched out holes that I use, No, Joni, they wouldn't think you're nuts. They wouldn't think you're nuts. Lots of people do rubbings. People do rubbings of gravestones and things because there's such interesting artwork on gravestones. But this, a lot of times when I do rubbings with a crayon, then I'll use a watercolor and go over it so it fills in whatever white there is left. And it makes a very interesting piece to add to a collage. So that works for rubbings. Then I have this little piece of screen. I'm not even sure what this was from. It's some sort of a meshy, screeny kind of thing. That too, you could make a rubbing out of. Okay, so again, something different for making a mark. Now, if I wanted to, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. This page is a thin enough page. At the top here, I'm going to put a piece of plastic underneath that. I have plastic over here. Just because I don't want to get stuff on the other pages. And then I'm going to take this mesh stuff and I'm going to put it down. And we're just going to do this corner. I'm going to rub that corner just for some texture on the corner. right into the journal. Oh, I got a little bit of wax on the other side, but that's okay. See, so a little bit of texture. Now, of course, it's wax, so I can't really glue anything to it. I could glue it down here and it could go up. But I could always stitch something onto that. If I had to put this on the back, you know, let's do one more corner in here like that because we want the book to flow. So there's got to be more than one, usually, as far as I'm concerned. Yep. Again, just something a little bit different. You don't have to do every single page, but it just adds that little bit of interest. So you could use window screen, you could use darn near anything. I'm not even sure what this is from. Not sure. But it's okay. I like it. So rubbings. Rubbings are a great way to add something different. You know what? Let's try something like this, guys. I've got these die cut leaves. What happens if I do a rubbing over a leaf? We're here to play. We're here to play. We're here to learn, right? We're learning together. I haven't done a die cut aside from those holes under something. Let's see what happens when I do that leaf. Oh, broke the crayon. It's okay. Wow, guys, another way to use your die cuts. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's cool, Jam. Put the image on t-shirts. That's very cool. So there you go. Another use for your die cuts. You could do rubbings, and then it's a whole different thing. So now I want to do rubbings all over some journals, guys. Use all kinds of different die cuts and things. I love rubbings, though, so. Okay, so we've done the crumpled up cellophane. We've done the balloon. We've done rubbings. Now, what if we put some paint down? What color do I want to use? How about red? Thanks, guys. See, I have the toys to play with. So we're just playing and learning. I'm going to pour some paint down. I am going to use a brayer and brayer it out. Got stuff. Move this stuff, Kim. Move this stuff. Okay. Right. So now I've got this. Let's roll it onto this thing. Because I will be coming back and using that for something else later anyway, right? Right. Oh, I'm running out of spots to put wet stuff. Oh, surprise! So I've got this. Now, I just showed you how I take those leaves apart, right? You get fake flowers at Dollarama or whatever, the fabric ones. And you can take the leaves and you put it down into the paint. And then you can take that and I need a light piece of paper again. What's this? Oh look, it's a coffee stained piece that I'm not a big fan of. You put it down onto your paper, wet paint, then you take a piece of plastic and you rub. The reason I'm using plastic is because I don't want to get my fingers dirty. And if I used the brayer, I would get paint all over the place. So you can use these fake leaves like you would use real leaves on your gel plate, right? Just so you know. And if you took them, right, you took your leaf, you can see the veining in it. Okay, so we're going to dry that off. Now, also, where's that one I was painting red? It's over here. This is going to be really good and red by the time I'm done today. That's okay. So you've got your leaf. Let's put a couple more down because I've got them. Like I say, I use these leaves when I do various things. Use them on the gel plate. Use them when I make little floral arrangement things. Okay, so it's down. It's in the paint. We're going to just take a piece of paper. I have my scrap bin beside me on the floor here. Some of these turned out actually nice. Don't know that I want to do that. Okay, so I've got this one. So I'm going to put it down. We're going to rub it. And the leaves that are on the paint, remember? So I'm using them as a mask. So now we'll remove the leaves and we will take a piece of light paper. What's this? Nope, that's not good. What are you? What are you? Ah, I can use this edge. And put it down. So for those of us in Canada in the wintertime, if we don't have real leaves on the trees that we can go out and harvest to do these things, we can use the silks. Does that make sense, guys? Yes, real leaves are better, nicer. They don't necessarily last as long as these fabric ones do, because these you can use over and over and over and over and over and over, right? All right. Just getting some of that paint off. And you know, by the time that you're done doing all kinds of colors on these are going to be like fall leaves, and you could just put those in a journal as they are. Because look how nice they're looking. Green and red, really nice. All right, let's put some paint down. Let's use this fluorescent orange because it's bright and beautiful. They do have good veining. I bought a whole package of maple leaves, actually, fabric maple leaves. Or maybe it was garland. I took it all apart and I've got all the leaves. So I'm thinking I want to do a bunch of maple leaf pressing kind of things. All right, we're going to use this fluorescent orange. Look how bright that is. Woo! Definitely won't fall asleep with that. Okay. I'm going to squeeze the water out of this little piece of fabric thing. Now I think it's just a little bit wet, so I'm just going to squeeze some water out with this rag I have. You know, I don't want to put that by the mushroom. I already ruined this one poor little mushroom by having it fall in my tea. Let's not have any fall in the water. Okay, so we're going to brayer this out. Again, this is just my plastic bag that I'm using. Putting that orange over this red. Building up some layers. Definitely going to be interesting, that layer background. So now I'm going to put this fabric down. Oh, that one? It's dry already. But yeah, I definitely could have used it as a stamp. Definitely could have used that as a stamp. Let's see. Do I have a water spritzer? I've got a water spritzer. Let's just do that. Let's reactivate it. I got this piece of white paper over here. Well, it's green, but... Oh, a bit too wet, I'm thinking. Bit too wet. And it didn't activate the paint. It just made a wet, smushy kind of thing. But I bet you I could have done that while it was wet. Probably could have. Good point. So we're going to take this little piece of cloth thing. And I just want to lightly attach it with the brayer onto the paint. Oh, big red mark. I don't want that. Obviously, put my brayer in the red wet paint. So we've got that. Now let's take a piece, you know, I'm going to grab a piece of copy paper because now I want to see, yeah, the pattern stuff. Hey, Anina. Okay, take care, Anina. I hope your headache goes away. Good luck with your job interview. So we're going to try doing this. Oh, that's interesting. My brayer still had a bit of paint on it. And as I was going over the fabric, it was printing it. So now I've got this piece of fabric. Oh, Kim's running out of room on her desk. Why does that not surprise any of us? We'll put that fabric down. We'll use the brayer and gently press it down onto the paper. Very pale, very pale. I probably could have added more pressure to it. Very pale. But that's kind of cool. So now I'm going to pull this. So you can use doilies. You can use anything on your gel plate, right? I can cut this out and make some lovely flowers. I see a whole bunch of floral cards coming my way. Oh, it pulled up all the artifacts underneath. But look, you can see where the print was. This is what happens when you don't clean your toys, guys. I don't mind artifacts. This actually, if you look at it closer, if I outline it, just getting paint off my hands. I could turn that into like a lattice work, turn this into a big creeping vine with some flowers on it. I may end up doing that. This side's really wet. Okay, so let's see how much of this I can peel off. See, I don't really like taking this to the sink and washing it because I don't want this plastic going into the water table or whatever. And I mean, yeah, I probably could. It's okay. I can soak it in water and give it a scrub and with some paper towel. And if I pick up color, I have interesting paper towel. If it just makes a mess, it makes a mess. All right, let's do this blue. Hey, Brenda, nice to see you. We are making a mess. Well, I am making a mess. Everybody's in the audience looking at me like I'm on glue. We're doing mark making today. So started off by putting a bunch of paints down in a clump, using a balloon, and doing balloon prints, like flowers. Did that. Did a whole page for background. I think I pressed one into a journal, one of the journals as well. And then I took a dowel and I did the same thing with the dowel and made little circles so I could turn those into little flowers, cut them out and use them on ATCs or up a page or whatever. So we did that. We did some rubbings. I used silk leaves, from those cheap flowers you get at Dollarama. Don't buy the $50 leaves, guys. Just use the ones from Dollarama, and you can use them on the gel plate, and you get the same effect that you would if you were using real leaves. And these ones you can use over and over again. And by the time they're done, if you use them for a couple of months or whatever, they'll be lovely colors to put into your journals. So we did leaves, we did crumpled up cellophane, same kind of thing. I used the same colors, the leftover colors from the balloon press. We're just making marks, different ways to make marks today. So we did that. We did, talking about different weights of paper. So like on a copy paper, I wouldn't want to use one of those big black Sharpies because it'll bleed through, or any other Sharpie will bleed through. So when you're working in a journal, you have to be aware of that fact, that some of the things that you use, like even my Liquitex inks, the acrylic inks I have used in journals, and I've had bleed through depending on the quality of the paper. So it's just something else that you need to be aware of. So I just used a piece of like a doily kind of thing and treated it like I would on a gel plate, but it pulled up all the artifacts. So that's kind of what we're playing with today, is just a variety of different ways to make marks. I did some rubbings someplace. I've got rubbings that I did with a crayon, and I've got this weight from a Mylar balloon, those plastic balloons you can get. And I also went over this screen. I did rubbing over this screen, and it gave a really, really nice textured thing. Yeah, I did a series of flowers. I'm sure that I did these into flowers on one of my streams because I've got a whole bunch of flowers, and that's what those dots were from. But I think I probably used like a glue bottle end for it, so they were a little bit bigger. So I mean, really, you just have a bunch of paints down, you pick them up and you stamp, right? So you get, sometimes the edges are really, really dark. So you can use anything. Anything flat, though. Needs to be more on the flat side. All right. So we did that, we did that, we did that. Oh, blue. I was putting blue down. That's what I was doing. Gonna put some blue down. We're gonna brayer it. And I don't want to brayer it too thin. I really don't. And I'm gonna add that blue to this red and orange one, guys. Because it doesn't really matter how many layers of paint I've got on there. I just don't want to be able to see the phone numbers. Okay, so I've got that. So now we're going to take these Mardi Gras beads. Soap bubbles, yeah! We're going to take these Mardi Gras beads and we're just going to put them down in the paint. Then we're going to pick them up carefully and we're going to put them down. And just press gently. You don't want to roll them. And you get just a little line of dots. Little line of dots. Or we can roll it in the paint. And yeah, I'm going to be a mucky mess. You guys know that this is the way I play. Right. Up. Then when you roll it down the page, you get some very interesting lines. Those of you who have problems touching paint and that kind of thing, please make sure that you're wearing gloves when you're doing that. I don't have an issue getting my hands dirty. I know that I have some viewers that it really bothers them. So I will take another baby wipe and wipe my hands. Okay. 2 wanted to come. So anyway, you can do that with beads. It really does give an interesting effect. Just different ways to use things to make marks is what we're doing. All right. So then, of course, I've got these kids' truck tire things from something or other. So we can put those through the ink paint as well. And those give us a nice mark. No postage due? Woohoo! Oh, I'm happy, Teresa. Very happy. I'm glad you got it, hon. Teresa won one of the journals from the Mother's Day giveaway, and she received it today. Woohoo, woohoo! So now let's pull this, because this looks kind of interesting. Let's just grab some more copy paper. Because I don't have enough painty papers around. You know how it goes. I know you know. We're just going to pull that blue. I like having these different kinds of bits of paper because I use them for my flowers. So it took a week to get you. That's not bad. Tape. Tape. Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I did. That was one of the full washi tapes I did on masking tape. But of course, with it being masking tape, I used glue to make sure it stuck better. Oh, wait. So I've got an interesting kind of pattern. I can use that for fish. I can use it for flowers. You know, actually, that could even make an interesting Goonie bird body with the marks like that. All right. So we did that. We did the tires. We did the beads. Now let's use an ugly brush. I don't know about you guys, but having taught a lot of kids art, quite often you end up with brushes that look like this. And there's nothing you can do to make them nice again. You just can't. Okay, let's use black because black will show on paper. It's much nicer. So even when you're eye painting, if we don't get to cleaning our brush right away, a lot of the paint gets stuck down by the ferrule and you can't get that brush back to be the shape it originally needs to be. So we're just going to put some paint down just a little bit. Now this is how I do my baby's breath on my flower cards. Except I usually use white paint. But today I just wanted to see if those flower cards over there actually had some on. So we've got an ugly brush. We're just going to dip it in the paint. And we're going to get the majority of the paint off because we don't want it really, really heavy. And then we're just going to gently touch it to the paper in different directions. Now, again, as I say, if I was using white and it was on, oh, I'm glad you love it. If I was doing a floral and I was using white, that looks like baby's breath. It's delicate. It's little. It just adds that little bit of whimsy and texture. Focus. There we go. Oh, I'm so glad that you like it. There's what paint on the other side of that. So again, you get an ugly brush. You know, kids paint like this, right? And then you get these ugly brushes. You know, so that just gives a really gentle, even like a shading. You could do that along the edge of a journal page. And instead of using those crazy inks that you have to pay a bazillion dollars for. And look at, you get just a nice shady kind of edge. Does that make sense, guys? Ugly brush, balloons, this kind of stuff. Of course, this also, let's get a little bit more paint on the brush. And if we put it down, but you guys know, you can use screen, you can use anything. Right? Anything with holes. And that will give you a nice mark. Right? We did a rubbing over these holes. Right? We did that rubbing with the crayon. Is it focusing? Maybe a little bit. But you guys have seen me do this many times, you know. Take some paint and go through where I've punched out holes in a page because I needed those hole punches for flowers or some silly thing. That's the one with all the page tabs, isn't it, Teresa? That journal. Right? So again, anything can be used for making marks, guys. You just have to envision it. You know, I cut all those leaves out. If I took a sponge, I could use these as stencils, and I have. How else do you guys make marks? We use markers. We use pencil crayons. Definitely pencil crayons are great for making marks. Let's grab a pink pencil crayon, and let's grab. I've got this ruler, right? That ruler that we used when I was doing the prompts last week. So we could do, colored pencil, pen, gel pen, glitter pens, metallic pens, whatever, and trace out a stencil like we used to do when we were little, right? This is very, very pale. I don't know how well you'll see it. But now we've got this interesting shape. Can you see that shape? Oh, all right. Okay. So we've got this interesting shape. That's a mark. Could you imagine those going down the side of a page? That'd be kind of fun. Or even this edge, this wavy edge. And it doesn't have to be a ruler. You know when you use a Cricut or something, don't forget double circle center from the tape roll. Oh, for sure. That's somewhere here too, right? When you've got a roll of tape and you've got that circle left over. I've got the lid from my shampoo bottle. I don't even know what this is. It looks like a pen, but there's nothing attached. Like, I'm wondering if this is actually from a scratch pen. It's those really, really tiny nibs. The ones like you use on a feather, on a quill. Some of those nibs are really, really curled, but you've got something like this, and you dip it in the paint. And you get little circles, right? Little circles. You could use a stamp pad. You could use paint. You could use whatever you've got down on your palette, right? Anything, guys, anything. What about this one? I have a piece of wood with a rubber band wrapped around it. Let's spread out that black paint a little bit. So you get marks like that. They're interesting. Definitely interesting. What about if you had... I'm just looking through my bins here that I've got all kinds of stuff. More tractor tires. A whole bunch of kids' toys. This was from a car set. It was Welcome to the Auto Mall. It's not a stencil. I didn't buy it as a stencil. I bought it for the grandkids to play with. But look at these wonderful wedgies. Right? Now, you could color that in with polka dots or whatever. Anything. Anything can be a stencil. There's the shampoo bottle thing. Even the bottoms of bottles have some interesting shapes. You can do ovals. This paint is starting to dry on me, so I didn't get a complete oval, but you know what I mean. You don't need to go out and buy a bazillion things for mark making. What about Lego? I like using Lego as well. Well, see, it's got wheels as well. But Lego makes nice marks. I have this piece of, it's a metal tube thing, but it looks like it's braided or whatever. Let's put some more paint down. Let's put some more paint down, like a black. Let's add some more black. No, let's add blue to that. Oh, thanks, Belinda. See, the thing is that I don't want to have something everybody else has, right? Well, I do, but I don't. But I do. You know what I mean? You guys know. We're just gonna. There's a big glooby in there someplace. I'm really trying hard not to do anything with that mess over there because I want to use it for a floral thing. Okay, so let's take this weird stuff here. We'll roll it through there. Hey, Barbara, nice to see you, hon. We're mark making today. Playing with messy stuff and making a mess. So, again, this hasn't, you can see the pattern on my fingers even, because I'm lucky. So Ron found me that roll. He says, look at what a nice texture that'll create. Look, that's a beautiful texture. That is so much fun. I am so lucky, guys. Ha. Let's see what happens when I pull that off. Look at this. Interesting textures. Very interesting textures. What else do we use for textures? I use the bottom of plastic trays. I think we've been through a lot of the texture stuff that I've used in the past. I'm going to use this again. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to grab that tray. Because it's right over here. So when I go to Dollarama or Dollar Tree or anything like that, I'm not necessarily looking for I'm looking for textures is what I'm looking for. So this is just a plastic tray. But look at those wonderful things underneath. So we're going to put some paint down. Oh, my word. I'm going to have a craft a lunch over there, guys. Oh, let's do orange and red. Orange. Oh, there's some black and blue in there. It's okay. It's okay. We're playing. So I'm using this faux jelly plate. This is my plastic bag with packing foam in it. You know, it's red, and let's use some of this unbleached titanium white. Warm white, it's called. It's a little thick. That's okay. All right, We're going to brayer this. And I'm not overly concerned with any pattern or anything. I am just brayering it out so that it's got the colors. Once again, that's going to go on this same piece here. Well, we're starting to look like mud, but you know what? I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm going to wipe this muck up. I think I need another piece. Oh, no, still got a piece of cotton paper. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to put it down onto there like this. Just like this. And because it's not a gel plate, I'm not worried about pokey things the way I am with my gel plate, right? So if I've got something with a little bit sharper edges, I'm not as concerned. This one. Let's see what I get when you put this one down on there. Whoop. I can see I didn't get this corner very good. It's okay. Okay. Now, see, if you were doing it on a gel plate, you would definitely get your centers and everything. But those are kind of fun. Definitely kind of fun. I could cut those out and doodle on them, right? I could cut these squares out and doodle on them after. Now let's see what happens if I pull this. So yes, I do use some stencils on my plates for mark making, but I like the odd stuff too. Okay. Again, on a gel plate, that would have come out much clearer, cleaner. I've got a lot of artifacts in there. I've got some of the black artifacts. But that is an interesting print. I could use that as a journal cover and not think twice about it. Really. Okay, let's do that again. Let's do it with one solid color. And yeah, I've got lots of stuff down here still. It's okay. It is okay. I'm going to have to take my barrier apart. I'm starting to get paint build up in there. And again, because it's plastic, it's going to work just fine. Still see the phone numbers on there. It's okay. Let's be a little bit more brutal this time. Have to take a phone call? All right. All right. Oh, am I fuzzy or what? Oh, mucky hand. Sorry, guys. There we go. So I'm going to put some weight on it this time. See, with a gel plate, you'll have that little bit more give than this plastic bag and stuff has, which is fine. But again, when I do my prints, I'm not going for the frameable prints. this. I am going for something I can use in a collage or as a background. There's something I can doodle on. Something I can chop up into Goonie birds, flowers, something with strange textures. There we go. Look how lovely that is. Definitely lovely. So again, like I said, I can cut these squares out. I can color on them. I can add some embellishments to them. These little bits would look lovely in collage work. Again, tray from Dollarama. I've had it for quite a long time. You can see how much paint is built up in it. Let's pull that. Let's pull that. I was watching a lady doing some gel printing yesterday, day before. And under her 8x10, she had a sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. And she used that so that when she was doing a double print, she could line it up. So that it was almost like the marks for lining stuff up. Oh, we got lots of artifacts, but that's okay. So again, you can see if you were using a clean gel plate, this background would be very, very interesting. Like I said, I don't have a problem with these bits coming up onto my work. I do not. Maybe by the end of the day, my gel plate. Still fuzzy? Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's that plastic tray. I have some crystal bowls that I use as well. That one was lifting, so I wanted to remove it. I've got crystal bowls that I use, candlesticks. What else do I use for mark making? How do you guys make your marks? Of course, we all use just round circular things. I'm just looking to see, because normally I've got boxes of stuff that I use, like right handy, so that these, we've got these silicone hot pads with all the little hexagons on, right? Let's do some of that in black on top of this. Let's do that in black. We're going to roll it out nice and thin, because we don't want it too heavy. Okay, you're just going to sit here. Empty pill bottles, yeah. Bottoms of square bottles, definitely. So normally I don't dump the whole thing in. I just use bits. Now, if you don't have one of those silicone hot pad things like this. Oh, crystal pieces work good. Yeah. Yeah. So that's definitely an interesting background. Let's just put this down on the other black spots and we'll just pull that. We will just pull that. Yeah, I don't know where my tape roll thing is. It's usually here. I do not see it there. So if you don't have a gel plate, if you don't have packing stuff to put into a plastic bag, you can use one of those plastic cutting mats or whatever. Bubble wrap, yep, bubble wrap works good. Some of this is loose, so I'm just picking it. Just picking it. This was a fan cover from a little computer or whatever. And you know what? This makes really interesting I'll show you. First, okay, we'll just use this piece of paper. We're going to put it this way, and we're going to take blue, red. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I lots of my stuff comes down here. Doesn't even make it to the kitchen, and Ron doesn't see it before I take it either. I'm going to use a stencil brush. You don't need to use a stencil brush. You can use a regular paintbrush. You could use a sponge. You could use your fingers. I happen to have stencil brushes. You don't want it too wet. Like any other thing that you're stenciling, you don't want your brush too wet. Oh, see, I did tap that one off. That's okay. This paint is, we'll see what happens. But this is a really cute mark making thing too. You just need to look around your house, guys. Just need to look around your house. Even when I go to thrift stores, I'm not necessarily looking for objects or projects or whatever. I'm looking for something that I can use as a stencil or as a stamp or, you know. So I would cut that up and use them on corners, or you know how I do the flowers, where I put half a flower on a page. Oh, Kim, you've got a mess here. I've got one somewhere, like this big flower. So when I've got little things like this, I'll cut it into 2 or 3 pieces and I will add it so that it looks like it's off the page and on the page kind of thing, right? I'm running out of room to stack stuff, guys. My word. Okay, so again, a little fan cover. What else have I got that's odd? What about this is latch hook rug stuff. So you can use it 2 ways. You can do it this way, right? Use it for the little squares. You can use it for the little squares, kind of like that mesh stuff that my brother-in-law sent me home from BC with. This is on a smaller level. Okay. So you can get little squares. You can see that, it was a little messy. Or you can dip it into the paint, right? And you can use it as a stamp. And you get an interesting kind of a grid work, right? Hey, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. We are playing with mark making things, just showing that you don't need to go out and buy lots of stuff specifically for mark making. You can use found objects. We were just playing with some latch hook canvas. And again, like I say, you can just dip it in. Needlepoint canvas, the plastic needlepoint canvas is lovely to use. Right? What else have I got in the bag of tricks? I have some corrugated cardboard, right? We use corrugated cardboard many times. I know you guys use this. I've seen you guys use this. My corrugated cardboard's getting a little sad, obviously. Right? Corrugated cardboard. When it's original and good shape, it's lovely to work with. That is all. This is a thing from an adding machine, right? Center from an adding machine roll. Actually, this is what I have used. Let's do it on a clear spot. And I usually do it on a piece of foam. I can't see my foam. But because I didn't have those fancy dancy postage stamp things for making, when you make your faux stitch, I've used this as the circle to go with the wavy lines to look like it's been canceled. Right? So again, adding machine roll. Now, of course, if I wanted to put tires or something on it and a stick through, I could use it as a roller as well. We do like our rollers. I'm just looking for stuff, guys. Looking for stuff. I had bought, these are for unscrewing jars, right? You messaged me a cool mark making thing you got from Dollarama. Okay, I'm looking. I'm looking, Sherry. I saw that you had messaged. Oh, that is cool. Is that fun foam? Sherry? It looks like roses almost, guys. You know how I do my rose stencils? Sherry, is that fun foam, hun? Okay, so this was a jar opener. It's silicone. Okay. So it's like a hot pad? A silicone hot pad? Wonder if I could pull it up on my tablet. Oh, my tablet is dead. I'll try it anyways. We'll do it quick. I put it down here. I was going to plug it in, and look, I got sidetracked. We know how that works for me. Trying to make it big. There we go. I don't know how well you guys can see it. I've got a glare happening here, and that Don't want to turn that other light on. So it looks like a hot pad or a trivet or whatever for putting hot pots on. Very cool. Very, very cool. Lovey, do you make journals? Do you crochet? What do you like to craft? Okay, back to this. This is one of those. It was a circle. It's for opening jar lids. I've got mine hacked up because we know that's how I roll. Let's roll this paint out a little bit. Let's add more paint. So yeah, just showing stuff that we find that we use for mark making in our journals without spending a bazillion dollars. A lot of times, like this is just a plastic bag with some packing foam inside, that white nylon-y packing foam. And I use it instead of a gel plate quite often. So let's use this thing here. So that gives a lovely effect. Lovely effect. What else? I've got. Wow, guys, I got stuff here. But you knew that. This is drywaller's tape, right? The reason this does not have paint on it is because I don't normally use it for paint. What I use drywaller's tape for is, trying to find a piece of white paper that's pulling out of the scrap bin, is you put it down, and then you take a pen. Yeah, I'm always looking for lace paper or plastic tablecloths I can cut up. So you put your packing drywall tape down, and you choose a row, and you go like this down the row, and it looks like lovely little stitching. Can you see that? Oh, focus. Come on. Because sometimes it's easier to do this than, well, I mean, I don't have a sewing machine that works right now, right? Are we fuzzy? Are we sharper? What is that? Am I? Oh, no, that's fuzzy. Kel? Where's Kel? What? Is Kel here? Oh, cool. Okay. I was thinking, I didn't see Kel come in. So, yeah, that's just a little piece of drywall tape so that you can make it look like stitching. It's really nice and fine. It's great for, those of us who don't have sewing machines that are working at the time. The other thing I like to use, much to my sister's dismay, is this, right? You put it through the paint. You guys know what this is, right? Look at those lovely little dots. Doesn't that leave lovely little dots? Yeah, stitch marker, tracing wheel or whatever it's called. But I love the little dots this leaves. I would not use this on a real gel plate. Do not use this on a real gel plate. You don't want to damage your gel plate. But I like it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, mucky fingers, guys. Sorry. Those of you who know me know that I like to make a mess. There we go. Ha. Okay. So that's two other things. This for some reason when I was cutting my stencils, I cut one really, really small. So this is just it's not copy paper. It's a light cardstock. So I will cut stencils out of that. I'll show you what that looks like. Again, guys, you can use anything. Lovely, did you answer me for what kind of crafts you like to do? We do a lot of mixed media. The ladies here, everything from knitting, crocheting, sewing, paper stuff. I can use that for rubbing as well. So I used it as the stencil. Now let's use it as a rubbing. Why not? Those are crayons. So there it's a rubbing. There I used it as a stencil. You could use any stencils for rubbings, I'm assuming now. Of course, I've got all my... Whoa, what was that? It just flew. Oops. I have all my texture plates that I use both for rubbings and for paint. Let's use this one for a rubbing. This one's fun. Now these make great journal cards, backgrounds. Just remember, if you're rubbing with a crayon, glue's not going to stick to it. But if you use a watercolor paint, great texture plates, rubbing. Hey, Kristen, welcome, welcome. I'm making a real mucky mess today. We are playing at doing mark making so that we can add stuff to our journals. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to use this sprayer and I'm going to go over that and we'll see how much red paint sticks. How much we could see the rubbing through that. Okay, so evidently I still had a lot of black on there, but you can see the rubbing. You can still see the rubbing through that paint. Hugs, Teresa. Take care. We learned something very interesting from Kristen. Kristen took slips from her potato plants, like from the plants. She didn't take the chitlins underneath or whatever. She actually took slips from her plants and stuck them in water and they rooted. So she's growing potato plants from her cuttings. I think that's really interesting. I don't have potatoes. Otherwise, I would try it. So anyway, that's crayon rubbing with acrylic paint over. Yeah, normally I use watercolor when I go over the rubbings because it shows nicer. But still, it's definitely a resist. You can see the rubbing because it's wax. The paint didn't stick. Yes, what else have I got in the drawer? for mark making. Oh, yeah. Guys, look. Remember when we did this? Remember when I put all that stuff through the embossing folder and then we used it for mark making? We used it as stamps. Right? Let's do that. Let's throw some paint on some of this stuff and do that. So this is just styrofoam plates. I didn't use meat packaging for the fact that it's hard to get all the styrofoam is very porous. So I didn't want to use that for bacteria wise, right? Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna rub it on. It's not. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. We'll use it as a stamp, guys. Good thing I've got stacks and stacks of scrap papers around. So we use it as a stamp this way. It's almost like a little print, right? It's more like a print than a stamp. I guess I could go over some of that detail with a pen and make it better. And now let's pull that like we would a gel print. Lots of artifacts. Okay, so that didn't come out nearly as clean as we'd like because it pulled up all the greeblies underneath. But that's okay. That's okay because this is going to make some interesting like irises or something. I'll use that for flowers. Speaking of flowers, guys, mold and paste, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You can make your own mold. I've got some here somewhere on this desk. But I found some other of the flower cards that I've done, guys. I'm going to be putting these up on my shop. So it's amazing when you clean up, you find things. Okay, so these are the ones we did out of styrofoam plates. Let's grab another one. Always liked this one. Thanks, Sherry. Those and my Goonie Birds seem to be my go-tos when I want to create and I don't know what I want to create, you know. So again, plastic bag, packing foam. Which side works better? This side works better. I put these styrofoam plates through my Cuttlebug with embossing folders. Because you've got to have all the toys. Use it as a stamp. I really like this little car. I'm thinking I should clean that up a little bit maybe, and that turned out lovely. Lovely background. That'll be good on ATCs or something. Now let's pull that. And we'll see the difference between the two. This is the pull. I tried to do it in the clean spot so I didn't get too much scribblies from the background. I think I'm going to put a wet paper towel over this plastic and clean it when we're done. Okay, so that's the pull. So you can see one's the negative and one's the positive. Oh, circle punches are lovely. Wow, wouldn't that make a great ATC coin background?
Incoming!
In case you're wondering, that's my email notification. Okay, so those ones turned out lovely. What else? What else have we got? What about, okay, here's another thing you can do. You can put these down. Let's do the bricks. I like the bricks. Put that down. Take a piece of scrap paper. You guys have no idea how much cleaning I have to do down here. Right? Clean your brayer off with something underneath. Right? That works as well, right? Clean your brayer off with something underneath your paper. We'll do that again. Add that to the pile over there. Oh. Yeah, I've got circle dies too, but they've got kind of like the stitching around it. They're not like clean circles. But I mean, honestly, I've just taken to doing circles on the Cricut now. Okay, so we're going to clean this brayer off with this one, with paper on top. And then I found out that these things that I got from Temu, these are actually for use when you're doing fondant icing. Either that or clay. But look at how nicely they work with paint. Yeah, that's a real muddy color. But the pattern is interesting. You can see it on here still. Let's roll that. Let's roll that. So what else do we do for mark making, guys? I'm trying to think. I do glue things, right? You put a bunch of glue down onto wax paper, let it dry. It works good with spray inks. I've got mud color because I had red and I added the blue to it. And they made a really ugly purple. So we've had a few positives out of today's stuff. I've got a few backgrounds that I like and can use. So that too can be an interesting background for something. I Again, positive and negative. And again, that is just glue put down onto a wax paper. Let it dry, peel it off. You can see it's starting to break. I've been using this for a while now. If you use hot glue, it's much more flexible. So I've done words. And then I've got these things. These are supposed to be for putting between your pans. They come in like a star shape, 6-pointed star shape. And I've tried to do them so that I can get prints from them. Let's use the white. But I haven't had much luck. No, we're going to use the orange. So this is going to be really muddy because I've got lots of goop on there. I guess I could take a paper and pull that, whatever's on there. The back of this, see what we can get. See what we can get. This is a mucked up paper anyway. Just seeing what we can get. Yeah, that's pretty mucky. We'll do this. Got some really interesting pattern stuff happening down there. Grab another piece of paper. This is just for a cleanup. See if I can get some of this muck off this bag. Yeah, my circle punches seem to get dead spots in them. Okay. That's usable. Not sure for what, but it is usable. Let's use the orange. Now I'm thinking what I should probably do with this is paint a glue onto it because it's like a pressed felt. So it seems to absorb the paint. I'm going to put it on pretty thick. Oh, big goober. Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. We got that. Just more paint on the fingers. Yeah. Okay, let's square that up. Because I thought it was pretty interesting pattern. So I'm going to roll onto it in hopes that that kind of seals it a little bit. You know what I mean? We'll see. Then I'm going to put it into the wet paint. And then I'm going to put it onto paper. Because we need 900 steps for whatever we're doing. Let's use a scrap paper. This is a piece of poster board. Not sure what it's going to be, but it was in my scrap bin. See, it leaves a lovely pattern. Lovely pattern. Right? That's a cute pattern. That would be a lovely background for something. So that's very textured. Like you can see the bubbles from the felt. But it's very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think what I would like to do is I'm going to add to there. And there. Then I'm going to pull that with a piece of paper. And the thing is, it's orange. And I said I wasn't going to start any new projects, except for what I'm doing on my streams. But I've had a hankering to paint some jack-o'-lantern faces, like do a whole series of pumpkin faces. Okay, so you can see it a little bit. It's not great. I think what I'm going, well, it's subtle. It's very, very subtle. I'll definitely cut out this piece here because you can see the flowers nice. This piece here I'm going to chop up and use for the pumpkin faces because I can. All right. What else do we have? What, guys, what else? This was, those chip clips, those plastic chip clips. I had one that broke, and it's got these interesting lines, the woggly lines. I use those. Let's do that in black. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what? I don't know what you're uh-ohing about. And, the cool thing is I've got all this mucked up bits of paper. It's not going to go to waste. No new projects. I have lots of projects I have to get finished first. I'm still not finished that heart from Friday. I wanted to get it finished over the weekend. That didn't happen. I do have all my eyeballs crocheted for that order that I've got. I just have to stuff them and embroider them now. So, it's got the wavy lines. It's interesting. Sure don't like that gray stuff behind it. But you know what? In a collage, it can be just fine. It can be just fine. Let's roll this black out again. Find something else to use. I don't know where that double circle went, Belinda. I know that we were talking about it. I have no idea. Of course, if you've got like a card, this was an old bank card, but you could do this kind of thing, right? And we can pull that. Yeah, it's in a safe place. So that's kind of creepy. Now, see, I can cut that out and I can put leaves and flowers on it and it won't look so creepy. We know. Or I could run it through the die cut machine with something and it'll be something really cool and striped. Some leaves or something. Here we go. Kim's saving scraps again, guys. Okay. There was something else I wanted to try. Ye old onion bag. Many layers of paint on it. Many layers of paint. Right? Let's grab what? What have I got? Got this one here. I've got stuff underneath. Oh, I didn't clean that stencil brush. So it gives a little bit of a texture thing from the onion bag. Subtle. Subtle. Yeah, I found the marbles. I've got my marbles. I do. So that's nice and subtle, that onion bag. And of course, if I wanted to pull it, I guess I should have done that first. Let's do that again. Put this down. Onion bag. And let's pull that on this piece of white here. See, it gives a nice grittish effect. Got paper stuck to it. Nope. Under layer of paint coming up. It's okay. We'll just get rid of that. Just get rid of that. See, that bag is nice and clean underneath all this paint. Yep, it is. Okay. Just looking in this bin here because I know I've got other stuff. This is those rolls of shelf lining that you get at the dollar store, hardware stores, other places, right? I like using it like this. Oh, my hands are mucky. And sticking to things. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Stay there. So you've got the shelf liner. And it makes a great stamp. Of course, you don't need that big a piece, right? You can just put a corner in and do a little mark. You don't have to do big horkin marks. Sometimes less is more, right? Sometimes less is more. So we've got all kinds. We've made lots of marks today. Lots and lots and lots of marks. I want to pull this black stuff up. Let's grab scrap paper. Sometimes less is more. You know I'm a maximalist. We know. I'm just trying to think of other things that I know we've made marks with. Again, that is a great background for an ATC or a journal card. You can put anything on top of that and it will be very interesting. Very interesting. You know that I'm a maximalist? I don't know how you would have guessed that. I really don't. Okay, so since I got my toys out and I'm playing, let's get that black paint off my mat. We're smeared in good, you know, clean it a little bit. Pretend like I cleaned that. Pretend like I cleaned that. Now, I'm going to move this stuff so that I'm not making a really big mess. Maybe. I have no idea where I can put that, where I'm not going to get paint all over stuff. Because we've got this little journal here, right? This little journal. So every time we play online together, guys, I have to add something to this little journal from our week of playing. So I did do the balloon one. Not quite enough paint. It's pretty dry. And we'll put one down here. Like that. Like that. Okay, so we made it, what, that. So then, where is a small piece of that? Some of that stuff my brother-in-law sent, that knitting, this stuff. I like this stuff. I'll be honest, I really, really like this stuff. And I'll show you. I like the squares it does. Last week when we were doing the prompt along, I used this to draw squares. But if you paint the squares, let's put some paint down. Let's put some paint down. Oh, there's something blocking the paint. Come. There we go. Big paint booger. There we go. Okay. I can see that I totally missed that with my... So again, using a stencil brush, and that one had too much paint on because I know I went under the grid there. Again, I like pattern, evidently. Or I like to make patterns. Right, we've got the grid. Now I want to roll that out just a little bit. And after this, I think I'm going to have to call it a day because I've run out of room. And I know I'm going to regret this. I know, because I'm going to touch that side. You can sit there. So it's got a nice grid there. But if we put it here, this isn't flat, this grid. You can see how it's all broken up, but that is a very interesting texture as well. Now I don't want to pull it with that. Oh, I got wet paint, stuck to wet paint, stuck to wet paint. Why not? One more piece of paper. And I'm going to hope that this grid pulls up nice. You know, this is what happens. You know what happens. Kim is just making a mess. Okay, so it's interesting. It's not great. But again, it's background. It gives a hint of the grid. So what happens now if I do a secondary pull? Okay, it's just kind of cloudy stuff. But it's okay. It is okay. So on that note, guys, I am going to say thank you very much for watching. I'm not going to show much of anything that we have done today because it's a big mess. Not sure if I've ruined this or enhanced it. I'll have to wait till it dries. This is what I was braring off on for the most part today. It's definitely interesting. I can paint something on that. I'll have to cover the back. So we did that. We did this one with the balloons, and then I used the hexagon stuff on top of it. This is just texture plates. This was the embossing folder that we did. This was the felt hot pad. This was using scrunched up cellophane or saran wrap kind of stuff, cling wrap, over cotton balls. This was the tray bottom. Thanks, Brenda. Is that a squishy knot? This? It is not as squishy as a gel plate. It's that white packing foam. I don't know. You see it's that white nylon-y packing foam that's in there. So it's kind of squishy, but it's not as squishy as a gel plate. Yeah, the tray bottom pardon me, worked really well. Really well. What else have I got? We never did use this, but I've used this recently and showed you how this works. This is that carving, and it stamps best on a soft surface like some felt or something. What else? What else did we do, guys? I got papers everywhere. That was the tray bottom again, but it picked up all the greeblies, all the artifacts. The leaves. Oh, okay. Ziploc bag. And I used this, like this is what I used before I bought a gel plate. And so I would make sure it was clean every time I used it. Now I use it the way it is because I'm using it like a palette a lot of the times. Oops. So of course we used some hole punch stencils. We used corrugated cardboard. We did rubbings. We did all kinds of mark making. Things other than using markers, which, well, we did use a pencil crayon because we did trace through on the ruler for shapes. What else did we do? We used that fan cover. But I do like the balloons, the way the balloons turned out. I could have swirled that around a bit more. It would have been more fun. I don't know. Yeah, the dowel ends are good. and these lines. And I really like this mesh stuff. I don't know what this was. I have a feeling I've got more of it someplace. It's not punchinella. I don't know if it's like window screen. I don't know. Oh, thanks for coming, lovelies. Thanks very much for coming. I'm not usually quite this messy. I'm close, but not usually quite this messy. So that's about it for the day, guys. I hope that something has sparked your interest so that you will go and make your marks in your journals and whatever else you're playing with. And I guess that's about it. That's about it, guys. I'm at a loss now. So I'm going to call it a day. It's been 2 hours. Hugs to you all. Never used your wheel for its intended purposes. No, exactly. So hugs to you guys all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you on Friday. Not sure what's happening. If Jean's going to come and play, what we're going to do. She mentioned something about making fabric brooches with embroidery and beads and that kind of thing. Maybe we'll do that. No idea. Hugs to you all. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Everybody in the balcony and those of you who watch the replays. Take care. Oh, you're welcome for the journal. I'm glad you like it. Really glad you like it. Hugs, guys. Have a great one. Bye now. Oh, find the cursor. There we go. Bye.